Welcome back. Now for our first interview of the day, the Selected Committee of the National Assembly, tasked to investigate the mass resignation of fishermen employed under the government employment redressing program, met yesterday with officials of the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources and the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation after its consultation with the workers, trade union and fishing companies at Walvis Bay last week. Now joining us with more on the matter is the leader of the committee and a member of Parliament, Tjekero Tweya. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Pewa. Good evening, listeners.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Now, first things first, as a committee, firstly help us understand why your mandate is specific to these fishermen.
Thank you very much. It is true our mandate was very specific because the issue of these ex-fishermen has been coming for some time now. You recall that it started way back 2015. They were for almost 5 years without employment. After 5 years, the government heard the plight of these ex-fishermen. The government responded by approaching the existing companies to give them additional quotas, specifically to accommodate these suffering Namibians who lost their jobs. And they literally lost their jobs, families, etc. It was very devastating. Mm-hmm. And when the government came up with this solution, it was hoped that the issue has been resolved. But it turned up not to be the case. But with that initiative, 5 companies responded to the call or the invitation of the government through the Ministry of Fisheries. And those companies made their presentations how and what they felt they could solve the problem from their side. An agreement was signed to this effect. And in the process of implementing that agreement to solve the problem, other problems cropped up. Now, some of the problems is that these companies did not have enough vacancies on the vessels. They then offered to give these employees or ex-workers an amount of 4,000 Namibia dollars per month while waiting to be absorbed and integrated into their companies, these 5 companies. Mm-hmm. Now, this did not happen because some companies were hoping to receive or procure the vessels to expand their operations with these additional fishing quotas that they were granted. But this did not happen. The world events prevented them from, achieving that particular objectives. Now, these ex-workers were getting this 4,000 as an allowance, not doing anything because there was no jobs for them.
Okay, but they were getting an allowance.
They were just at home, waiting for the real opportunity to come, but they were getting the 4,000.
Okay.
Now, they were starting now to ask, but where's the employment that you offered us? Mm-hmm. This is not jobs because we're just at home and we're just getting money for free. Yeah. So the discussions now started. And that is what prompted this particular fire with these ex-fishermen, that they were getting money, this 4,000 as an allowance, and that the agreement that the government has signed with these companies is to provide employment to these workers. Yes. Now, that employment did not come. However, the companies, within the 2 years that they started this particular agreement, did manage to absorb some into their companies on a permanent basis, and they were paid not 4,000, but the real salaries and real benefits.
All right. Which is how much?
No, they vary depending on the job grade in which you were employed.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 4,000 is just a flat for everybody, and you're just at home, you're just getting the money. Yeah. So if there is an opportunity to be appointed, you get at that particular grade with all the remuneration that accompanies that particular position. Now, the thing went on and it dragged on. So they started with the negotiations now. So, no, we want jobs. We don't want just allowance to be at home because we want to work.
Yeah.
And this discussion started with the Minister of Fisheries, them coming to Windhoek, the minister getting to Walvis Bay. So the discussions went on and on and on.
Right.
In all these discussions and engagement, an issue was raised or an idea. And so if these companies don't have jobs, although they are willing to help, is there any other company that can give us jobs and we transfer these quotas to that company that has got jobs for us?
All right. Now, talking about discussions, I understand last week the committee met with the fishermen, the trade unions, and the fishing companies last week. Can you just talk to us about some of the decisions that were made during that meeting?
Yeah, let me just clarify. This parliamentary committee, appointed by Parliament, put it this way. The mandate is with Parliament. So we hear, we read in the media, the Minister of Fisheries had made a ministerial statement, meaningly it is to inform Parliament. But there were more questions than answers from the parliamentarians. This committee was tasked, and this is why a specific mandate, go and investigate in the form of a fact-finding exactly what is the issue. So this is why we had to start with a background to understand
the
issues until where we are and what is the road ahead. So that is a specific mandate. However, the fishing sector itself has got many other issues, but we unfortunately could not listen to those because they were, in a way, outside the mandate of only focusing on those because they had an agreement with the government, with those companies. Some of what they have raised is, we know what the agreement is, although we did not sign to the agreement, but we accepted the agreement, the content of the agreement. But the ministry is not complying with this agreement. Those companies are not complying with this agreement. Those were issues raised, and this is part of the fact-finding.
Okay.
And as a fact-finding committee, when they make a statement or allegation that the ministry is not complying with it, we had to challenge them and say, which clause in the agreement? And that's part of the fact-finding. When they say, yes, the companies have committed to employ us, they did not employ us, they are only paying us allowance by being at home. We had to verify that with the company, whether it is the case. So that is the mandate of the fact-finding.
Right. And it was verified?
It was verified. We have got all those findings as a committee.
All right.
And
now
having that, but it was not all. After verifying that, the party to this agreement are the two ministries. Ministry of Labour, because it's a labour issue, but also in the agreement, they also had to perform certain functions within that agreement.
Okay.
And then Ministry of Fisheries, who gave the quota to those companies to then provide employment to these companies. Those facts we have from Walvis Bay on the ground. But that is not all. Fact-finding means everybody that is involved needed to be given an opportunity to give their side
of the story.
One of the fact-finding also is that there was a company mentioned, not one of the five, that has apparently offered to provide a solution because they have got a vessel which the other companies don't have at the moment. This is why they're still just paying them allowances. We also had to hear from that company, but fully to understand that company is not one of the five. How did that company get involved? So we needed to verify all those. So we have verified all those, not only verbally, we wanted also evidence through writing of all those verifications. All those we have collected.
All right. Now, Mr. Tweya, we are running out of time, unfortunately, but let's talk about what transpired yesterday in your meeting with the two ministries. Straightforward.
Everything that was mentioned there or accused the ministry is not doing this, etc., it is now the opportunity for those ministries to respond to those allegations and accusations.
So we are waiting
And
for the ministries to respond.
No, they did that, and that is a meeting that we had with them yesterday.
Okay.
There were other issues that the committee requested also written evidence proof, like meetings that they had. If any decisions were taken, we needed evidence of those that indeed a decision was taken in that meeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes no decision is very easy to throw, just stones, but no evidence. Nobody has made any commitment. So we are in a process of waiting some of those documents to have a full picture, because we believe that we have given each stakeholder an opportunity. The committee would then analyze all these documents from the sequence and prepare a comprehensive report.
All right.
But also to pave the way forward. Why it is urgent at the moment, the Ministry of Fisheries is about to issue new quotas for the new season, especially there's already a season that started on the 1st of November up to September next year. But the other one starts from January to December. So we need to fast track this particular report to also assist the ministry, because those companies, others have indicated their willingness to continue in this arrangement, and others not. And this particular quota is subject to renewal on an annual basis. So we need to have a solution for the next season, but also the next year, because that arrangement with these fishermen will come to an end now in December. So then it will go back again to square one.
All right. So when do you think we can expect the report?
It depends on the availability of all the outstanding documents.
Okay.
We will unfortunately not rush and leave out other documents, because Parliament would say, but how can we take an informed decision when other information is outstanding?
Yeah.
So it depends on those information. To us, is a matter of urgency, but also to the ministry, because the ministry need also to perform their mandate, and that is to issue the quotas, to create employment, but also to harvest that for the economy, for the growth of the economy of the country. Right. So we really appealed to all players that it is not only one party, but we all need to bring our part to solve this issue and to have a better tomorrow, because we cannot afford to spend time and energy on just quarreling among ourselves, just fights every time. Yeah. We want to focus on something else. Right. That is the main gist of this fact-finding, and why Parliament is looking at this. As a committee, we are ready to present this report with recommendations to Parliament, where Parliament has got is the only body that has got the mandate to debate and to take decisions.
All right. Mr. Tweya, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We wish you all the best, and we'll definitely keep in touch with regards to getting the report and also just the full findings from the investigation.
Thank you very much.
All right. That was Tjekero Tweya joining us this evening. Don't go anywhere.